President Obama signs a proclamation today declaring March 31st Cesar Chavez Day, paying tribute to the labor and civil rights leader.
In 1988, he went on a hunger strike demanding better treatment of California farm workers, as Peter Jennings reports from the ABC News Vault.
Our person of the week has fasted and demonstrated for the rights and livelihood of America's farm workers many times over the past 3 decades, and the effects of his struggle have been widely felt, from the bargaining table to the kitchen table.
The growers began to beat up our people. The police began to jail our people. We were not known, and no one would come to our support. We were hungry and frightened and in need of help.
Cesar Chavez has led scores of strikes and boycotts since that first one in 1965. The leader of the United Farm Workers represents thousands of people, mostly of Mexican descent, who pick the grapes and the lettuce in California's Central Valley. La huelga, the strike, and the boycott of food stores and the fast have been the weapons. The issues over the last 25 years have been the same for pickers: minimal wages and deplorable working and living conditions. Today, the issue is pesticides.
The best way to help us with the cancer and the birth defects that are attacking and destroying our families is for you to not eat grapes. And we ask you to boycott grapes.
Chavez has taken nothing but water since this fast began on July the 17th. He's now in danger of suffering kidney failure. As of today, a doctor will monitor him constantly. He says he'll begin to eat a small amount on Sunday. He says that he's fasting as an act of penance for those who, as he put it, collaborate with an industry that cares little about its workers.
It has to do with the children who are getting cancer, the farm workers who are getting poisoned, our environment.
The Farm Workers Union blames pesticides used on the grapes as the cause of cancer and other health disorders such as birth defects and miscarriages. In the Central Valley town of McFarland, the state acknowledges that 13 children have been stricken with cancer. 6 have died.
It's a hoax. 2 of the chemicals that he's complaining about aren't even used on table grapes. 2 of them are rarely ever used.
Cesar Chavez was born 61 years ago on a Dust Bowl farm in Arizona. The farm failed, and his family migrated to California, where his father became an itinerant picker. Chavez grew up in various labor camps, attended some elementary school, but he's essentially self-educated. After service in the Navy during World War II, Chavez returned to the fields. Many attempts to organize California's pickers failed, until Chavez formed the United Farm Workers in 1962. It is still the only viable farm workers union.
He is a farm worker, and so farm workers generally trust him, and they see this as a way of changing their lives.
In 1975, Chavez, with the open support of California Governor Jerry Brown, pushed through a law which guaranteed farm workers a fair minimum wage, a panel to air their grievances, and the right to strike. By 1980, after the lettuce strike of 1979, farm workers had pension plans, health benefits, and disability insurance. But the 1980s have found the United Farm Workers in decline. A state government that is no longer so sympathetic. Workers themselves resented Chavez's new policy of giving financial support to political campaigns. And the gains won in the 1975 Farm Labor Act have not been vigorously enforced. This time, the public has generally ignored the great boycott, and Cesar Chavez now lies in bed in poor condition. But Cesar Chavez has always been a fighter, not deterred now, never deterred in the past.
We're not going to give up. We're in it too far to give up.
And so we choose Cesar Chavez. In the past, some of his critics have been quick to dismiss his protests as publicity stunts. It strikes us, on the other hand, that a man who's prepared to put his own life at risk because he believes others are at risk, he is certainly